Not even gonna lie to you all. I seen a story while scrolling through YouTube, and it says China issues new threat after Pelosi lands in Taiwan. This is coming from Fox News. So I want to check this out with you all if y'all don't mind. All right, let's do it.
And we are waiting for China's next move after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi landed in Taiwan about an hour ago. They're 12 hours ahead now, so it is straight up midnight. So not a lot of movement now. They have driven the caravan or the motorcade down into subterranean parking in just the last few minutes. We watched that on the Faulkner Focus, and we will await for the next movements there by the Speaker of the House. Meanwhile, China's foreign ministry has released a statement just a few minutes ago, warning her visit is a, quote, serious violation and a major political provocation, and threatens the United States again. They've been doing it for days. This is Outnumbered. I'm Harris Faulkner, here with my co-host, who I'm so glad to see. Campagno and Kayleigh McEnany. Also joining us today, Dr. Nicole Saphier and James Freeman. We're going to rock it. Right now, as I showed you, Speaker Pelosi is in the Capitol.
Seems I done lucked up. Seems a brother done lucked up. So I'm talking about sometimes God is amazing. He bless you with different flavors in the lifesaver packet. Yes, sir. Let's go.
Capital city of Taipei. She is the highest-ranking elected U.S. official to visit Taiwan in more than a quarter century. And a furious China is ratcheting up the threats against the U.S. It has just released that statement. Let's get into more of it. The United States, for its part, has been attempting to use Taiwan to contain China. It constantly distorts, obscures, and hollows out the one China principle, steps up its official exchanges with Taiwan, and emboldens Taiwan independence, separatist activities. These moves, like playing with fire, are extremely dangerous.
Wow.
Those who play with fire will perish by it.
Wow. Don't be trying to change our culture, god dang it. Because that's what you're trying to do. And we about to burn your tail.
That's a quote.
Wow.
The Chinese state media now reporting the military will hold live fire exercises around Taiwan between August 4th, so Thursday of this week, and August 7th. That is just after Pelosi will have left Taiwan. But there are now also reports that a series of military operations could start tonight. Chinese warplanes at the ready, reported flying very close to Taiwan already, the Taiwan Strait. Earlier today, in a provocative move, we saw them. We also have some new chilling footage of Chinese amphibious tanks on the beaches opposite Taiwan.
Wow.
And Taiwan launched military drills to prepare their people for the worst. And 4 U.S. warships, including the aircraft carrier, the USS Ronald Reagan, are positioned in waters east of Taiwan.
I'm sorry, guys, but stuff like this concerns me. Again, I haven't been following politics long enough to really understand what these moves mean when these countries start to posture themselves like this. Like they're not posturing themselves to be on the defensive. They are posturing themselves to be on the offensive. They look like they ready to pop off, man. What does that mean for us? Obviously, you're like, man, calm down. It's nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen. How do I know that? I need to know for a show if something's gonna happen.
The world awaits and watches for China's next move and how the United States might respond. James Freeman, this went from, we don't know if she's going, she touches down, and they go crazy.
Yeah. They don't need to go crazy. The other officials have visited in the past, and good for Nancy Pelosi. There's a lot to criticize in her public record, but one thing she has been outstanding on for decades is standing up for the free people of Taiwan. And this wonderful island of liberty, this success. You go back to Bush days, to Clinton days, she has always been, in many ways, better than the White House, saying these are our friends, and good for her.
And you bring up a point that Senator Manchin just talked about, and that is the fact that we've had a lot of delegations go, delegates go, that sort of thing. But this moment in time is so different.
I swear, man, these colors that these ladies have, it's immaculate, man. And listen, I'm a happily married man. I just have to say that. I am a happily married man. But when these ladies come up on this screen and they look like this, it definitely adds to the reactions. It makes me want to do more reactions because I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. These are ladies presenting themselves as ladies. They're not showing a whole bunch of booty, a whole bunch of top. They're not doing any of that. But they fly. I'll tell you that right now. They fly as ever. Look at them. They fly as ever. Okay, back to Pelosi.
That's right. And she's in the presidential line of succession. And I think that's really important for us to remember, and also why the administration's officials have said, well, maybe China doesn't quite understand that this isn't an official administration visit, that they confuse it, that she's a Democrat also. So they're sort of conflating the two. But I think because she's in the presidential line of succession, that's why this is so important. We talk about the potential impact to Taiwan, too. Already, it's my understanding, based on the president of the Eurasia Group, that 100 ships of food exports have already been cut off from the mainland. So this visit has just started, and yet there's already been major consequences.
Whoa, they stopping people from eating because of this? My God, look. You here trying to make us act different? You know what? We're going to starve our people. What? Okay, back to the lady in black.
And I just want to point out, going back to that import, the Chinese ambassador to the U.S. said in July that the question of Taiwan for us is the most sensitive, important core issue in China-U.S. relations. And against the backdrop of there being, everything else on the table, the fact that that is their #1 priority, to me, speaks volumes about why they are taking this so seriously.
So, Kaylee, what happens if we don't get it right? And the timing of this is really interesting, too, because China's looking across the world and seeing what Russia has done with Ukraine.
Yeah, well, the sad truth is we haven't gotten it right. The response from the Biden administration has been weak. It's been paltry. It's been inexcusable. I was appalled to watch the press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, we played the clip yesterday, asked about these Chinese threats, which are real, which are actual. They are not hypothetical.
Wow.
And her response to Peter Doocy was, I will not answer a hypothetical. No, 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 no. If you are asked about a threat from another power, yes, you have to be measured in your response. You have to talk to the National Security Council. But you exhibit American strength. John Kirby had to clean it up. He got out yesterday on the airwaves and said this is an important visit. We support the speaker, which should have been the point from the get-go. But that aside, we have been so strategically weak against China. Axios did a really good report on the 4 years of the Trump administration, and they said in 2017, Trump put billions of dollars of tariffs on Chinese goods. By 2018, 2019, a whole of government approach was taking form. By 2020, there were 210 executive actions against China. Where is that approach from Biden, and why isn't it happening? Good for the House Speaker. I'm so glad she stood firm. But why is she more of a leader against China than the current president of the United States?
Dr. Sapphire, I know
question.
we can get into the politics. We can do a lot of it, but I want to talk about the height of the pandemic.
That's exactly
Right?
where I want to go.
I want to go right there.
Know?
And how we haven't learned anything. We still aren't making those critical. I'll just give a couple of examples. Medications like for diabetes in this country the way we should. We're still capitulating to a country that hates us.
Well, Harris, you really hit the nail on the head there. I mean, at this point, I think a visit of this level is way overdue at this point. The small but mighty Taiwan were the true ally to not only the United States, but the world at the beginning of COVID. They tried to alert us about the outbreak, human-to-human transmission.
Yes.
But China lied and people died. And the way that this White House has thanked them for it, they've just completely turned their back on the free people of Taiwan. And what is CCP doing right now? Because they need to keep their image on the world stage.
Okay, so this is a good visit. Okay, all right, I'm learning, Miss Red, Miss Lady in Red. I'm listening now.
And it has usually been about rhetoric and conjecture, but now they do have the military strength to back it up. And unfortunately, the United States remains very dependent on China for our medications and for a lot of our imports. And what are they doing right now? They're trying to cut off Taiwan by stopping the imports. They're going to do the same thing to the United States, and this just reminds us that we need to stop being so reliant on the Chinese Communist Party.
So
why do we do so much business with them then? We should just try our best to just separate from them altogether, because it doesn't seem like they're our friends anymore. It doesn't. It doesn't. What's the point? No, these questions are coming from a real place because I think that we do a lot of business with them. And I don't believe that we should continue if our relations with them is not, are we just saying, look, man, F y'all too. We making money. we're going to ignore anything else. As long as it don't get real and we don't have to start firing at each other, we good. But until then, we're going to go ahead and make money and break bread. You know, that money thing, man, that greed, man, that greed.
Talked about what former President Trump did. And James, we know that they hold so much of our debt.
Yeah.
What leverage do we have? And by the way, we didn't even get into all of the fentanyl. They're killing our young people here. They're getting it into this country, over the border south of us. I mean, they are really able to hurt us in so many different ways.
It's a complicated relationship. It's harder than the old Cold War in terms of we are integrated with them economically and we have benefits. And that's why, you know, we don't want a Cold War like we had with Moscow. But
can we pause right there? Because today with their threats of military and ships and warships, it doesn't feel very cold in terms of Cold War.
No, and I think one thing that does make this a dangerous time is the president has been very unclear on what his policy is. He will make a statement and then staff will come out a few hours later and say, no, that's not really what he meant. And we're left wondering, what did he mean? And what did he think he was saying at the time? So that is a problem. But, and you go back, you know, reviewing the history, Xi Jinping, who now runs that country, is an old-fashioned communist thug. When he came to power roughly a decade ago, then Vice President Biden was in charge of managing that relationship, and he completely misjudged this man, completely misunderstood what he represented, which was unfortunately a turn away from what had been a very nice trend toward liberalization, market opening in China. So we need to be strong to get back to that approach and to encourage them to come back to what worked.
You talk about where Biden was, and it's hard not to think about where the investigation is now with Hunter Biden.
You have to think about that. You have to ask questions. Why have we seen really unparalleled weakness against China from Biden alongside this investigation? I think it's fair to ask the question. But look, compare over 4 years how the enemies of our country acted versus how they are acting now. You have China, who has threatened to take out the third in the line of presidential succession. They have leveled that threat. They have said that they're going to engage in some sort of military action. They're still a rational nation. I don't believe they're going to engage in something overt against nuclear power. That being said, they're flexing their muscle. Putin invaded Ukraine. That didn't happen over 4 years of the last administration. Al-Qaeda flooding into Afghanistan. We decimated ISIS during the 4 years I was there. There is a difference. Iran thinking they're on the verge of perhaps a nuclear deal. Enemies are more emboldened than ever, and you've got one reason for that, and he's sitting in the Oval Office. I guess not today, but in a few days he will.
Well, look, we all know, just with regard to Putin invading other countries, the only president that he hasn't done that with in the 21st century was Trump. I mean, that's just a plain fact.
That's
all right, we'll move.
These daggone fruit flies in the house with no fruit. It's like the same one just flies around and just be laughing. Then when I go smack him, he slide out the way real smooth, you know? Anyway, y'all let me know whatever y'all want me to know about this one in the comments below. And if you have yet to hit that subscribe button, please make sure you do so on your way out the door. Once again, guys, I'm Van, and now we are all the LFR family, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video, hopefully inside the Patreon as well. Y'all have been amazing per usual. Love y'all.